those phases when you're deep in the trenches, when things are not working out, I think those moments are really hard.
And earlier you mentioned about loneliness and the highs and the lows. Can you
Mhm.
share about how has that journey for you as a serial entrepreneur been over the years, and how is it different now?
One of my biggest things which I did not expect when I started up at Rudley was earlier on at the beginning part of the first couple of months, the amount of support and the amount of people who I was not even connected with, who came out of the woodwork, the problem resonated with, and it's beautiful and I'm so blessed to have so many people reach out to me, help me through the early phases. Like I had someone who I had never connected with from Reuters. I was sitting out of India and she was out of Reuters. I think it was LA but sitting out of Reuters, she's Reuters Accelerator Network. And she reached out to me and she was literally guiding me at 5 o'clock in the morning her time. She would wake up to every couple of weeks to help me through the process. And I was like, it was astonishing for me to realize that someone would be doing this for someone they have no connection to and stuff like that. So that was beautiful. That's the positive side. The negative side is in a few months, let's say once you're 12 months in, once you're deep into the trenches, once the novelty period of putting out stuff on social media wears off, once you started putting out things and maybe you haven't seen the type of spark that you were hoping for, that point of time, managing then it becomes really lonely when you have your core support system around you, which I'm blessed to have a partner who's always there to help me through these journeys. But I think those phases when you're deep in the trenches, when things are not working out, I think those moments are really hard. It becomes very important to, again, manage energy, manage your emotional bandwidth, manage your highs and lows so that you keep moving forward and looking for the little wins. I think those are all the things that really help.
Yeah. And can you share a little bit more specific on how have you handled that? Like how have you found support and what have you learned along the way?
Absolutely. Actually, there's something I'd love to talk about. One of the things that this is what's helped me, and I put out something, it's not only necessarily for founders, it could be for anyone, but everyone says, look for the little wins, right? Sometimes identifying when your mind is serving you a negative context, even finding those little wins are really hard. And then you have obviously negative thoughts that percolate up. And once these negative thoughts come out, separating what is fact and what is fiction becomes really hard because your mind tends to create stories, right? You don't know if those stories are based in fiction or fact. And one thing that helps me a lot, and I put this out, and anyone can just actually go onto my website and see this and have access to it, is I've created a framework on Miro called the Life Board. That essentially what I've done is it just simplifies. It does 2-3 things. One is just reminds you of what your goals were. So it helps you pen down what you're working towards, what's important to you, your value systems, all of that. And then what I've done is just mapped out on a chart on the ups and downs of your career or whatever. You can change, you can add it to your personal life as well and stuff like that. But it's beautiful. The way I use it is a way to look back and remind myself of my wins and remind myself that, so as soon as you realize that there's negative chatter that's starting to percolate, I go back to that and just look through that and remind myself, okay, I have confidence in my abilities. I've done it multiple times in the past. I've been exactly at this phase. I mean, it helps just declutter the mind. It helps build confidence again. And I think the most important thing is moving forward. And that just helps you declutter and then take the next steps.